Hi, it's Marissa, MKissa Creations here on Flosstube and Instagram, and it is time for Flosstube number 61. I am coming to you today from a slightly warmer Maine. It has been very cold with like feels likes around -5 to 14 degrees. We are at 34 degrees today and it feels good to warm up a little bit. It was getting cold even for me, and I don't usually complain about the cold, but I was sitting on the couch one night and I was just like, I am cold, I am kind of done. But it snowed last night and we still have snow from the last snowstorm that was like 2 weeks ago. So nothing is disappearing here. It's just sticking around. So it looks pretty, which is nice. And all of the dirty snow on the side of the road got a nice little fresh coat of white. So looking extra beautiful again. And yeah, it's been a great couple of weeks as far as stitching goes. Last weekend, 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I got to go up to Augusta and hang out with some of my stitchy friends. We had a little mini retreat that our friend Missy organizes. She is from Two Needles Pulling Thread. She invites all of us, our little group, and we kind of all chip in for a conference room, and she cooked us a delicious soup lunch and brought fixings for sandwiches, and it was just a really good laid back low-key time, and I absolutely loved it. I had such a successful weekend. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you from that successful weekend, I got to sit next to my friend Helen and my friend Tina. But my friend Helen, Miss East Coast Crafter, good advice giver herself, says, hey, check the Michaels in Augusta because they have some great oops frames and they usually have a lot. The Michaels down here, I think we struggle with oops frames because we're near a college, the Maine College of Art and Design, Maine College of Art, Mecca, and I think they probably all know that they can get some cheap frames there and probably hunt it down a little bit. So there's not always a lot of oops frames available here at our Michaels. So I took her advice, and before I stopped by the room, I found the absolutely perfect frame for the Cryptid SAL that I had just finished. So I texted Helen, who had thankfully not left her home yet, and oh, I found this, no, maybe I found this on the second day. Did I find it on the second day? Or the first day? Maybe like the second day I went and I found it, and I texted Helen, or I told Helen, can you bring your kachunker? Kachunker is a point driver. It has been affectionately known as a kachunker. And she said, I sure can. And so she brought her kachunker, and I spent morning number 2 framing my Cryptid SAL. Now, this did not go as smoothly as I expected it to. I knew that I had a very scant border on one side, and that has always been a problem for future Marissa. Well, now was the day of reckoning. But that was not actually the problem. The problem is that I said, oh, well, I have a small border on this side. My frame is this big. Let me cut down all of my edges so that they're the same size, so that when I'm lacing the back, I can have equal parts of fabric on the back so that the back wouldn't look as messy. So I cut it all down, and I had already cut my piece of foam core. I was waiting for Helen. And then when I held up my fabric against my foam core, it was the exact same size as my foam core. So I ran upstairs to my friend Tina's room and ironed my piece and prayed for a couple of extra millimeters of fabric and put in a call to some friends that were out shopping at the local craft stores and said, can you please buy me some pins, because I did not have enough fabric left to lace it. Thankfully, I had enough fabric to pin into the foam core, and it is framed and it is perfect. And so I am going to show you my FFO of the Cryptid SAL in the most absolutely perfect $8 beautiful frame, and I could not be happier. So here we are. So it has this gold and then black, which is awesome because like the little corners have gold and then black. There is one little dinge right here. I can probably cover that up with some black Sharpie and it will be fine. But it fits. I got my lines to look pretty straight with the border. I was a little nervous about that, but with pinning, I was able to kind of pull different sections of the fabric in different ways and just make it straight. It's a little droopy up here, but you know what? I think it is pretty perfect as it is. So I still need to get some hardware. And if you really want to see how close it is on the back, I will show you before I cover it with paper. But so these are the edges that I was like worried about, but because the frame was a little bit taller, I cut everything super short. So like you can barely even see the fabric on those edges. It is pinned within a millimeter of its life to stay in this frame. And then I just kind of laced the fabric so that when I did the point driver on it, it would, you know, be secure and not move too much after that. She did bring me flexible points, so if I need to, I can kind of pry them out and reposition it, but I think it's done. It is an FFO. It is going on the wall. I am so stinking excited about this piece. I love it so much. So there it is. I just don't even want to stop showing it. It's so pretty. It's so perfect. So don't pass up the oops section at your local craft store. $8 for number one, this large of a frame is, I mean, I don't even know if I could have gotten, I mean, I could have gotten this size of a frame at Goodwill but it wouldn't be this perfect. And it probably wouldn't be like ready for framing as easily. So perfect frame, perfect moment. It was a great moment to have at a retreat, just finishing an FFO like this and just being able to have all those around kind of look at it and appreciate it as well. Even people whose style this isn't. You get that appreciation of just a well-framed, well-matched piece, and it just, it makes me so stinking happy. So jumping right to it, giving you the FFO right off the bat. Our little retreat was fun. Helen did come back out of her retirement and gave us an awesome little bulbs and blooms pattern. Oh, what did she call it? Robins and raindrops. Robins and raindrops. She has this available on her website. I'll put the link down below for you if you want to go grab that. I believe it's a free pattern that she offered to everyone. So she has a couple others on there that are of a similar design style that have like little words and seasons or just kind of collections of feels, but a lot of seasonal pieces in there. If you need something little for like a dough bowl, that is a great option, and it's Helen D. Can't beat that. All right, so let's go through some whips. And I knew going into the weekend that quite a few people, and I didn't think as many as were there, but quite a few people were going to bring 324. I knew Emma was probably going to have it with her, and I brought it with me. And I, over the week from when I filmed my Flosstube and stitching it at our little mini retreat, I added 22 motifs, and I'm getting close. So I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you a picture I didn't take very many. I know I said I wanted to, and I kept getting reminded that I wanted to, and I did a really poor job of that still. But I did get a picture of all of us that are stitching 324 in its various stages of doneness. So I will put that up, but I will also show you where I am. So I'll put a picture of what this looks like when it's done. But here is what mine looks like now. And I'm super close. Well, not super close, but close. I probably have about a page left. So I am just going to town on my whips. This one, the colors, but getting down into these like browns, kind of meh. I loved this like middle section right here of purples and blues. That was my absolute favorite. So I think I have that color. I've been kind of collecting little pieces that I didn't have just because I stitched so much full coverage and those patterns all have so many colors. I haven't felt bad about needing to buy colors and really round out my DMC collection. Thank you if you've offered to send me flosses. I really appreciate it. I am scouring the different Michaels for the flosses that I need. So I got that worked on. And then I decided that I would do some full coverage stitching at this little mini retreat, which I don't normally do. But I've really been feeling my What Lies Beneath. I showed it to you last time. If I have a picture of where it was last time, I will show it to you here. But I got some good work done. I stitched on it over 5 days. I added 2,895 stitches. I am now at 9.07% complete. And I got a page finish. So here is where What Lies Beneath is currently. And this one is not really going to come out of the Q-snap very much for you to see, just because this is the thickness of the width of the piece is the Q-snap. So I'll put a picture over there of what it looks like finished. It's artwork by David Lozeau. It's charted by Unconventional X Stitch, and it is a beautiful sea of blues. So many blues, so many different blues, and it makes me so happy. And as promised, you can really start to see that anchor coming in. I didn't really get up to there as much because I was focusing on the page finish that happened around that area, and I wanted to get that finish. So I really dug in that spot. But there's more definition in that anchor now, and there will be some more skulls really coming into play, and just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. And for fun, here's my back. So I do carry my flosses because there is so much, what is that, 939? It doesn't look as messy as it could, but I carry my flosses around. I've talked before how I stitch, but if you're new here, I kind of pick a color and then I stitch it out until the strand is done. And so that kind of leads to me hopping around. Well, stitch it out until the strand is done, or till I'm uncomfortable counting a certain distance, or I just don't trust myself with what it's near. I do make mistakes. I do have to pull stuff out sometimes because I don't stitch on gridded fabric, although I feel like I would make mistakes on gridded fabric too. But it is coming along. This is a 27 count Linda, 1/1 full cross, and I am obsessed. And it's awesome to get those page finishes done on Unconventional X Stitch. I feel like the pages are so much more manageable than Hayes, and even though you're stitching it in Pattern Keeper on a big giant, you know, like it's all one piece essentially, but seeing those page lines and knowing where those page finishes are, it just gives you a little extra boost, a little extra place to really aim for a goal and really come out on top. So that's where that is. And then I did a little bit of carpool stitching, not a ton, but my carpool piece is Nevermore by Satsuma Street. And I apologize. I might, oh, nope, I don't have a hanging thread. Oh, it's on the back. Okay. So this is Nevermore by Satsuma Street. This is a gift for my sister that I've been working on. And here's where it's at. So all of the 310 on the Raven is done, and I'm filling in the different blues and purples. I need to do those flowers down by the skull still, but every little bit counts, and it's getting done. And soon we will be to beading, which is exciting. And that lives in a Whippakeepa from the New England Stitcher, Stephanie. This is just perfect for having something to keep everything contained and easily go with me to the car and be in the line at school and be able to put my stuff away real quick so I can get every last minute of stitching in that I could possibly want. Okay. Going fast today. We're gonna have, I guess, a little bit of a shorter video. I have one more whip to show you, and then I am also gonna show you, though, I picked up off of, we had a little mini freebie table. So thank you to whoever left these. I got a piece of 28 count Zweigart cashel linen in tobacco. So this piece is really lovely. I really enjoy this color. I'm excited to find something to stitch on it. I was thinking maybe a tombstone, but it might also be good for a moth piece, I'm not sure. And then a piece of 28 count dirty linen by Zweigart. Just a really nice deep neutral. And then I also grabbed this piece of 28 count China Pearl Jobelin. It is a half yard. So I was instantly like, I got a new full coverage piece of fabric. So we got a new, hopefully one more full coverage coming at some point. I got to figure out what will fit on this and what won't. But I think the Stitching Sanctuary might fit on this, and that would make me really happy. I think it's a half yard that is needed, but I'm not positive. It might be more than that. But on 28 count, I think it should be good. And I haven't minded stitching on the 27 count, so I don't think that the 28 count would be a problem, except I'm thinking, because I like to stitch full cross 1/1 on my full coverage pieces, I am a little worried that a max color version might be too bulky on 28. Let me know if you have any experience with that. If you've stitched on a 28 count 1/1 full cross, and if you've had bulkiness issues with that, because I have thrown away a full coverage piece that already had almost 3 pages done on it because I followed the instructions and not the advice of people and did 2/2 full cross on 25 count on my very first Haid, because it calls for 2/2 on 25 count, which it's doable, but it can get really frustrating and really hard to keep getting that needle through when you've got an area that has a lot of confetti or just a lot of different colors. It's great if you're just stitching like a background of black, which is why I got the full pages done that I did get finished, because so much of it was just that one color. Plus we all know that DMC black is a little bit on the thinner side. Excuse me. So it was really easy to get it through. And then all of a sudden I was not enjoying it anymore. The piece was so thick and heavy. I did enjoy the tapestry feel of that, but I was not liking the look. I was not liking the bent needles and the fight that I was having to get it through. So let me know if you've stitched on 28 count 1/1 full cross for full coverage and what your feelings were on that in confetti heavy areas. That's the key. Confetti heavy areas, not just background areas, but those real confetti heavy areas. All right, next I spent a bunch of time on Consider the Lilies. I made my commitment to finish this project this year. I made that commitment to you all, but also to Rebecca at Beck Stitches Everything. And she and I have been sharing our progress on Instagram, although I lacked on sharing this progress because I feel like I just wanted to really give that oomph that I was getting all at once on here. So I spent like 7 days on it. Now those were not all heavy stitching days, but I did spend a lot of time on it. I moved it around in my Q-snap. It's currently out of my Q-snap. I'm gonna pin it to my board and I'm gonna show you because I'm getting there. It's getting close. It's getting close, folks. It's getting close. All right, so here is where it is. Look at how much I have left. Look at it. Look at it. It's so close. Oh my gosh. I actually hadn't looked at it. When I took it out of the Q-snap, I just folded it up and put it away and said, I will show it in my video. And so this is my first time looking at it and looking at the amount that I have left. All right, but the amount that I have left, we're gonna talk about it a little bit. I want to thank everybody that voted in my Instagram poll on this because I got to, so there's this pink angel right here. This whole piece is like mirrored, right? Most of the pieces over here also exist over here. They're just in a different color scheme or an opposite color scheme. So pink angel right here has a dark bottom and like a more muted top. And blue angel on the model is the same, bright bottom and a more muted top, but it's charted opposite with a more muted bottom and the bright blue on the top. So I did a poll. I was already feeling this way, and it was confirmed by a good chunk of my friends. So thank you very much. I probably wouldn't have listened to you if you went the other way because it was already my vibe, but I am going to stitch it like the model so that they are both bright on the bottom and more muted on the top. And I think that that will make me happy. I just have to remind myself while I am stitching to substitute those two threads, flosses, out for each other so that I don't mix them up. But all right, so here it is again. So I made the goal of finishing this by my birthday, which is March the 5th. And I think I'm gonna be able to do it. I am out of town for a little while coming up here, but I still will have plenty of time both before and after, before the month is over, to get this portion right here in. So we're looking good. We're looking good. I am gonna have to go into my emergency stash of Oscar. I only bought 2 strands to go with this, but I have it in another project and I will be able to steal from it, and it is from the same time period, so the floss will match and it should not be a problem at all, which the other piece won't need all of the skein that I have, so it will be a just fine borrow for that. But there's my Consider the Lilies. This is all I have left. This is so many years in the making. And I started this in 2020 when it came out at market. Helen picked this up for me while she was there, and I got it and I started it, I think, in April of 2020. And it has been such a happy piece for me to work on all the time, and I'm really excited that Rebecca and I have been motivating each other to really push through this ending and really push me to get this done. So not a lot of motifs left. Some of them are small. I think I only have 1 big potted plant left, like the mirror of this one. Oh, these 2 right here. And then the rest of them are pretty small, and then 6 more lilies, I think, to stitch. I already have the stem of one of them. So that's exciting, and we're just gonna hope that that border meets up. Hopefully I will get that taken care of sooner rather than later in case there needs to be some pulling and fussing and fudging. I will not be pulling out very much of the border. I will make it work, and it will work. But I'm pretty sure with all my check-in points that I have had throughout that it's going to match up. I'm feeling confident, not cocky. Because that's the second rule of cross stitch, is don't get cocky. Okay, now I would like to talk about my birthday sal. I am going to be hosting a sal for my birthday in March, and it is going to be called the Collector's Sal, or Collector's Sal is the hashtag. I will post an infographic with my pieces on my Instagram later today, so you will be able to see that. It is Kissa Creations there as well. And the purpose of this sal is that we all kind of accept that collecting patterns is a separate hobby but connected to our stitching hobby. Well, I have collected and find joy in moth patterns. So I have quite a little collection now built up of moth patterns that I have purchased, and I've got one that's still on a wish list, but I will be getting it, and I am committing to it. And I have one in the works. So I am going to be, for my birthday month, stitching on patterns to create a moth wall in my house. And I am inviting you, if you have either collection of patterns that you've been accumulating, to get that started if you haven't started it yet, or to add to it if you need to add to it. So tombstones, owls, woodpeckers, what else have I heard? Someone had a really good one. Oh, national parks. Someone has a national park national park wall. So it doesn't have to, your whole wall doesn't have to be cross stitch. Your wall, because I have some actual pinned butterflies and moths that will get incorporated into my wall. It doesn't have to be a wall. It can be a dough bowl. If you have you're working on a blackbird dough bowl, if you want to add to that, if you've been collecting patterns for that. Any collection is welcome. Please use the hashtag. They do sort of work still. I know there's been some debate about that, but I would love to see your pieces show up in there that you're using to add. I would love to hear down below what kind of collection you are building, what kind of collection you have in your stash, and what kind of collection you're adding to. I want to know. I love little sections of people's houses that are just all themed out. So we're going to talk about the patterns that I have collected and that I will be stitching next month. The patterns that I'm going to stitch on next month are Cloud's Factory Snug as a Bug. This one I already have started. I have not worked on it yet this year, so I will show you what it will look like when it's finished and where it already is as far as how much of it I have already stitched on. And then I am starting new patterns for the rest of it. So in no particular order, I will be stitching Witchy Stitcher's Memento Mori, and that is from her book, Witchy Stitching. And I'm just gonna put pictures up here of the patterns that I have. And then I am gonna work on Shaded Stitchery's Black Butterfly Sampler. I am so excited to go through my stash and find an amazing piece to put that black work pattern on. It is cross stitch and back stitch, and it is going in there. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna stitch the butterfly portion of it first. I don't know yet if I'm going to stitch the alphabet part. I also don't know if I'm going to leave the crown on the very top. I might just do the string of butterflies and leave them at that. Then I'm going to work on sprouting lupine. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do these in this order, but also in my collection will be Sprouting Lupine's Twilight Nature Walk, Shannon Christine's Luna Moth, and Owl Forest's Moth Waltz. Now, with Owl Forest's Moth Waltz, there is a floss collection, which is out of my price range to purchase as far as shipping and then the cost of the floss goes. But there are two whites in that pattern that have a little bit of color added to them. Not a lot, just kind of hints and little splotches so that it creates some color on the wings of the moth. So I think that I'm going to be trying to do a little bit of a dye project. I have a cone of white DMC that I have used to dye before with some RIT, so I might try to create something like that. Other than that, I'm going to try to do a conversion into just other fancy floss brands that I have and can find that work with the color scheme of that pattern. I'm really excited for that. It is a big one though, and that one is going to take a while. So I'm excited because I have a good little mix, I think, of large and medium patterns. I didn't really pick out any small patterns. I have been looking and there have been a couple that are tempting. So I might, if I'm really like looking for a SAF, a start and finish, I might pick up a smaller designed moth from one of those designers. There's a lot of really great designers that have some really bright, some really dingy, like all of everything. And I don't have a preference in the dingy versus the bright. I just like the flying bugs. So I am really excited to get that started. I really hope you join me. I would really love to know what you are stitching for the Collector SAL as well. Please use the hashtag. Please message me here. Please like and subscribe if you have found something that brings you joy and can listen to me talk for half an hour to 45 minutes. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for all of your support. I have just been able to find a really amazing place in this cross stitch community and have been feeling the love a lot lately. And I just want to thank you all. And yeah, happy stitching.